Remember, this entire manga and every manga on this channel is hand-drawn by myself, and now you too can learn exactly how to make your own viral Dragon Ball mangas at www.makemanga.com, where you can learn directly from me. My mangas have got me on TV, on newspapers, and even earned me over $60,000 a month on Patreon alone. And now, you can click the link in the description and pinned comment of this video and do it yourself. You only need to see the website to see just how many thousands of you are taking this opportunity right now. And don't forget also, the next video to this Ultra Vegito series has already been made and is live now on my Patreon right now for over 4,500 of you incredible fans to watch after this. Again, links are in the pinned comment and description. Enjoy.
How did you do that?
So our story continues with the truly shocking sight of Vegito as his God-Slayer blade, once known to be able to cut through virtually anything, being shattered to pieces as the God Killer would attempt to attack the now fully transformed Devil Kazuya. A look of pure disbelief and fear in the Saiyan's eyes, as for the first time in a long while, he would doubt whether he had any recourse at all. But as if the devilish foe was just a force of pure violence, no words would be exchanged at all. Before pulling his fist backward, Kazuya would make his move on the still in the air Vegito. Instantly slamming his fist hard right through the stomach of the God Killer, knocking the air straight out of Vegito's lungs. But as the God Killer's winding would soon change to a rising yell of discomfort, it would become clear Kazuya's punch was more than just a straight fist.
What?
As in the very next panel, we would see that just a simple rotation of the Mishima's strike on impact would cause Vegito to now spin back, turning viciously anti-clockwise. The rotation being so powerful, our hero would have no chance to try and stop himself, just screaming out in vain as his fast-moving face would now look like nothing more than a blur. Ultimately resulting in Vegito tumbling through not one, but two stationary mountains, effortlessly bulldozing through as if he were a beam of energy. And alas, once Vegito would make final impact with the wall of the last mountain face, his sorry-looking and damaged body would now be planted upside down. His facial expression visibly annoyed as he would grumble while his bangs float atop.
So now, even his normal punches have the ability to end me. That's great. Just great. Kazuya, just what have you become?
But before unsticking from the wall, Vegito's legs would free themselves involuntarily.
Damn it!
Eventually leaving Vegito to fall harshly by his skull onto the floor. His body still feeling the effects of the last attack, it seems, with not even enough energy to attempt to break his fall. Seems you've given up already, little puppy. Perhaps now you have realized why no mortal
was ever meant to step foot in the demon realm. Fragile ants, the lot of you!
Leaving Kazuya to now smirk and goad Vegito devilishly, before then raising his fist and extending a gaze towards it, his whole arm now electrified in a mysterious lightning as he would mutter,
"But would it have really mattered if you were anything else? No. God, angel, demon, all fail to compare to the power of the devil gene. And you have made that all too clear. God killer. Burn for your weakness!"
As suddenly lifting his arm up high into the sky, Kazuya's teeth would grit as the electricity in his arms would shoot into the air. Almost instantaneously, resulting in a violent bolt of black thunder crashing down from the heavens and alarmingly moving at speed towards Vegito.
Wait!
But with his body impaired, it would take only mere moments before the poor Saiyan would be completely caught within the Black Thunder's overwhelming presence. Violently electrocuting Vegito in an instant as his entire skeletal structure would become visible to the naked eye for seconds, every inch and cell of his body being fried as the powerful electricity would run through his stature. The attack eventually ending just as fast as it had struck, leaving a black soot-covered Vegito near burned to a crisp, as smoke would even bellow out of his now charred internal organs, culminating in an abrupt crash to the floor, as after two back-to-back attacks, the God Killer would be all but defeated finally.
Silly puppy!
All while in the distance, the echoing laughter of Devil Kazuya would continue to ring through the air, the demonic creature soon extending his wings, levitating towards the motionless and still smoking body of Vegito, before eventually landing on his feet right beside him. And with his arms folded, smirking away as he would look down victorious, Kazuya would gloat, "Pathetic. You who were once the sole vessel of Lucifer, handling his once untouchable power, now unable to handle the weakest of my attacks. All that fighting, all that power you took from my fellow emperors, only to be stopped by the one who rightfully will rule above them all. A glorious sight indeed, Vegito. I must thank you. Here, come and accept your reward." As not done with the fallen mortal, Kazuya would then roughly grab onto the Saiyan's hair, lifting him up by his skull alone, as Vegito would show the first sign of life, his face a portrait of misery and pain, as through his teeth he would groan. That is until, using his blood abilities gained from Kenji, the thoroughly damaged Vegito
would manage to immediately explode into a mass of blood, substituting himself away from the battle-hungry demon. Kenji! Leaving a less than impressed Kazuya to just mutter out the former emperor's name, easily recognizing the technique, saying, "Maybe you think showing me this will make me believe the power you stole from those other emperors didn't go to waste. But I am afraid, Vegito. You have only prolonged your suffering." As suddenly appearing right behind a thoroughly unbothered Devil Kazuya, Vegito, with a powerful ball of concentrated energy, would hurtle right towards the blind spot of the Mishima. "I've prolonged nothing but my victory, clown! Eat this and die!" As moving his mysterious attack closer and closer to the point Vegito would be lost in its own light, Kazuya would finally bother to begin turning his head. Ultimately then turning his entire body around, towering over the mortal, as he would just stare face to face with the energy attack like he did with the Godslayer blade. Vegito's body, meanwhile, continuing to follow through with intensity until victory is mine. What? As just like that, with a cold and stoic look, it would almost appear as Vegito's energy itself would give up out of fear. As just as the ball of power would enter Kazuya's vicinity, like a Hakai, it would disintegrate just from the warrior's presence and pressure alone, leaving Vegito stunned in the face, his eyes and mouth ajar in infinite disbelief. You win nothing! Mark my words! As now growing furious from the situation and how helpless he would appear, Vegito's energy would instantaneously begin to rise. In a rush, exploding into the sky high above, leaving a thin trail of purple aura behind, piquing Kazuya's curiosity only but slightly. This ends just like last time! As continuing his flight above, Vegito's arms would begin moving into a familiar iconic position, eventually dispersing his aura as he would reach the true apex of the sector, looking down now at an ant-like Kazuya. Stop this, and then you can win, demon! As rapidly producing an extreme mass of power within his awkwardly positioned hands, Vegito would begin using one of the Saiyan Prince's signature techniques, the Gallic Beam, in perfect emulation as his entire body would vascularize from his efforts. You can get as strong as you want, change into as many ugly forms as you can, Kazuya, but this will always be your weak point. You beat me on strength, but never my energy. I far exceed you. Run from this, and this entire sector will be gone just like that. Your choice! As screaming from above, as Vegito's own thunder would now crash all over the ground, the God Killer would reveal not only his plan, but an ultimatum to the former devil to coax him to facing it head on. The same trick as last time. He truly believes nothing changes but my raw strength. Deluded fool. He will learn soon enough. But unfazed, Devil Kazuya would remain motionless like a statue, with his arms folded, just waiting for Vegito's big assault. Garlic gun! And just like that, on cue, giving everything to end this monstrous encounter once and for all, the God Killer would unleash Vegeta's signature technique in the exact same way he did all those many years ago during the Saiyan invasion. But as Vegito's giant attack would race to the ground, now looking like a small sun in front of the winged creature, Kazuya's face would remain steadfast and stoic, a sign of his pure confidence. As without a word and taking his time, he would begin unfolding his arms and pointing his two clawed fingers towards it. A peculiar black ball of energy being generated on its tip as he would simply let out pitiful. As like a sniper blasting through a vat of water, Devil Kazuya would unleash his thoroughly concentrated beam of black energy, and instantly it would tear through the middle of Vegeta's Gallic gun like it wasn't even there. Wait! What? Mid-blast, that fast-moving piece of darkness would become clear as day. As with his face full of shock, he would be forced to watch as it races through, reaching towards his hands and... No way! Treating the God Killer as like another layer of water, the beam would reach its target and ultimately rip through the chest of Vegito, immediately sending the God Killer down with speed like a bird hunted. As while he would fall with his eyes closed and teeth gritted from the pain, he would only reflect, I'm beaten in every way. How could I let this happen? Inevitably reaching a crash landing on the surface of the sector. But it would at least seem he would be on his knees, as his wound would immediately attempt to heal back up. Kazuya! However, as Vegito would grab onto his chest, such a save and quick heal would now show its consequences, as now no longer with his green seraphim eyes, the grunting God Killer would be back in base form. I can't let it all end here, but I can't even manage to escape if I wanted to. No time rings, and I have no way of leaving this sector unless I beat its emperor. I have to win this, but how? But as Vegito would wonder over what his next move could possibly be, like a stalker, Devil Kazuya would continue to watch his prey squirm, beginning to walk forward step by step, as from Vegito's view,
the striking all-black silhouette of a true devil would come closer and closer.
No time to think, huh? Then I guess I'll just have to make some.
But it would at least seem Vegito would have some semblance of a plan, lowering his hands until...
Solar flare!
Instantly raising them back up to the side of his head and channeling his inner Tien, unleashing a completely blinding light. The entire sector would be turned white, as Kazuya would be in full view of the shine center. But for some reason, the devil's eyes would not show as much as a squint, a smirk even on his face. But regardless, Vegito's leg would jump into the air for his next move.
Tank this!
As taking his opportunity, the God Killer would then turn his jump into an impending kick, cocked back to slam on the presumably blinded Kazuya until... Tank it. I don't even need my devil form for you anymore. You're in base, kid! As instantly blocking the kick, now back in his humanoid form, not affected at all by the legendary solar flare, Kazuya would stand smirking, steaming with confidence now that he was no longer even fighting a full power God Killer. Immediately then transitioning his block into a tight grip on Vegito's ankle until...
Let go, you!
But the yells would mean nothing when in a violent next panel, Kazuya would suddenly swing Vegito down to slam onto the ground on both sides and multiple times, displaying a truly ungodly amount of strength for his size, akin to a certain Broly. Before just as easily treating Vegito like a ragdoll yet again, tossing him impossibly high into the sky.
God, this feels good!
It seems entering the final stage of the devil gene has boosted all my other states as well. As suddenly entering his second form, sprouting devil wings, Kazuya would brace himself, bending his knees while maintaining a pin-sharp stare at Vegito. Before then, faster than ever, the legendary Mishima would skyrocket into the air in chase of the Saiyan.
What's with this guy? Why is he just as strong even in this form?
Leaving a bamboozled Vegito who can hardly comprehend what's happening to stare down, watching himself be hunted down until... As rising his knee like a TIE fighter, Kazuya would strike perfectly and succinctly right under Vegito's chin, splattering blood as the God Killer's neck would snap viciously backwards. Beating you up is even more satisfying than with Jin. What fun you are, dog! As with an increasingly possessed and maniacal look on his face, Kazuya would begin entering a bloodthirsty zone.
Jin! What does this old man say? No!
But just as Vegito would take in any of Kazuya's words, as he would look up. Sadly for him, only more pain was to follow. As smashing down like a meteor, Kazuya Mishima would display so much speed, he would find time not only to come from behind, but to drop down from such distance and speed to deliver the most seismic of blows right in Vegito's stomach, sending the Saiyan's arm failing instantly on impact. But even as Vegito's body would forcibly be sent down flying like a Saiyan space pod, that same insane speed of Kazuya would allow him to yet again come right to the other side of Vegito mid-flight and... in a truly bone-shattering show of violence, the demonic emperor would be there again to break Vegito's fall with another knee, right onto the Saiyan's spine, destroying any trace of Vegito's vertebrae, as momentarily both his arms and feet would begin to spasm, blood shooting out of his mouth and his eyes going blank. Fun! But all things must come to an end, my boy! As suddenly now raising his power level even more, as black electricity would spark from his body, Kazuya would begin transforming until... now back in his complete devil transformation. Instantly, channeling black thunder through his foot, Kazuya would raise his legs straight up over the still blank-eyed, near-unconscious Vegito, and... with tremendous force, would bring down the strongest axe kick of the series. Its impact vibrating the very demon realm was like a bullet to the ground. Vegito's devastated corpse would speed intensely to the floor. And this intensity would be none the more clearer once Vegito's almost aura-coated body would finally crash down for a truly awe-inspiring collision, culminating in a gigantic explosion that looks more nuclear in scale than a simple crash landing. As finally, as all would be said and done, and the last vestiges of smoke would appear, Vegito's cold, lifeless body, without a hint of sound, would lay on the ground. His status unknown, but his place in this battle, most definitely on the losing side. But high in the sky, overlooking his victory and his destruction, Devil Kazuya would reside, but not with a pleased look, as he would let out, and there she goes. The God Killer has been defeated. You had your way with the gods in the mortal realm, and even with most of the emperors here. But against the Devil Gene, you have met not your match, but your maker. Before now pointing two fingers down again, this time towards Vegito on the ground, as it would almost seem like he was about to blast a dead body. But Devil Kazuya would instead continue. But with a story and legend like yours, a mortal accomplishing everything you have, a death like this would be unbefitting, not only for you, but as my greatest rival yet. You shall exist as my trophy for now. Rest in solidarity within this sector. Millennia from now, when I am bored at my reclaimed throne, I shall challenge you again.
Something to test my old bones in the future.
But of course, regardless of the respect given to him from the legendary former devil of the demon realm, Vegito would have nothing to say, and not by choice. As instantly, Kazuya's two fingers would trigger up a giant sinkhole to open right under the God Killer's body, falling gracefully via just gravity. His still motionless frame would not fight back at all, falling deeper and deeper into what seems like an endless chasm. But as time would pass, Vegito's whereabouts, whether he was still falling or not, would be unknown.
Kazuya!
But strangely, the very next thing we would see was Vegito waking up, and not only that, but with all his clothes intact, not a scratch of damage on him. We would have to wonder if this was all just a bad dream. Close, but not quite, as once we would then see a disappointed-looking Vegito sitting beside Yamoshi and Broly, we would learn that the God Killer was instead within the confines of his own mind, as Vegito would begrudgingly admit,
"It's over. I reached my limit. All I can say is I'm sorry."
But Yamoshi, seeming to still have some faith, would turn his head and respond,
"Who told you it was over? Not me, not Broly either. This isn't the first time you thought you were beat, you know. You thought the same against me. And look where we are now. Have you forgot about that trick you used when we fought? Your Kaioken?"
But Vegito, looking back, would quickly reply,
"No, I haven't forgot. I haven't forgot how using it even back then destroyed my body at the cellular level. I couldn't use my body properly again for a whole week. I learned that day. There's a reason that technique is for weaklings like the Kais. It forces your body to multiply your energy in exchange for damage, which is fine when your power level is in the mere thousands. Multiplying what disgusting numbers I have by now is just instant suicide. My body can just about withstand what I have inside me as is."
Before turning back to the floor and finishing,
"Just accept it. I tried everything I could. My signature attacks, my fighting style, it's all nothing to him. There's nothing I can do now, not even run."
And for a moment, there would be a silence in the imaginary room as all three Saiyans would go quiet in thought. But suddenly, having what seems like a spark of brilliance, the primal warrior Saiyan Broly would have an unlikely idea, saying,
"You say there's nothing you can do, but what if there was someone else who could try then?"
Making Vegito immediately turn in confusion as he would ask,
"Someone else? What the hell do you mean, Broly?"
And with a hint of doubt and disbelief in his own words, Broly would continue,
"It's your techniques. It's your fighting style. It's you who can't beat him. But maybe one of us could."
But swiftly transitioning from this strange idea to back outside, Devil Kazuya would remain in the sky, with his arms folded and his back towards Vegito's grave, as internally he would monologue. Lucifer, I have finally done it. I have attained a form just like yours. And not only that, I have become far stronger now than you ever were before. And as you've plateaued up there in the mortal realm, down here, where time moves infinitely faster, and every day there is a new challenger, my strength has evolved far beyond yours. I await your return for my revenge, friend. For now, I shall first reclaim my throne. But stopping the speech to his former demonic colleague, Kazuya would soon hear something from behind. But as he would quickly turn his head around, there wouldn't be much to see. Waiting for a while, there wouldn't even be as much as a squeak, nor any movement from Vegito's hole either, prompting a smile over the devil's face as he would whisper, Silly me, I must be hearing things. For a minute, I actually thought that Saiyan survived. But on perfect cue, like his words were heard by Vegito himself, suddenly blasting out of the hole would be a vibrant column of pure energy. What is this power? The God Killer? As for the first time in a while, actually fazed by what he would be seeing, Devil Kazuya would just stare patiently, as from within the energy, a figure with recognizable spiky hair would then begin to rise up. Vegito! How did he recover like this? Leaving the Mishima perplexed as he watches on as the silhouette now shows itself. But when the Demon Emperor would look closer, not all would be as it seems. As opening his eyes wider, Devil Kazuya would mutter, No, he's different. He's changed. So this is the so-called Demon Realm. As unbelievably emerging now from the field of energy would not be Ultra Vegito, but Ultra Gogeta. Not seen for so long, but finally back, and with an all-new form. His hair blonde like a Super Saiyan, but his eyes unmistakably possessing the green seraphim. As looking coldly at the devil before him, the legendary fused warrior from the GT timeline would say, Now that I've got full control of everybody's power instead of Vegito, allow me to show you how a real fusion fights. But that was it for today's video, guys, and if you made it this far, leave me a hashtag Gogeta in the comments down below and let me know just what Gogeta will do that Vegito could not. Or just find out right now on my Patreon, where you can see the full next video, fully voice acted, soundtracked, and edited for you to enjoy with over 4,700 other fans, as well as getting access to 250 plus other fan mangas too. It's the deal of the century.